You found Horrificial, stories that begin like whispers and end where sleep doesn't follow. The first thing we noticed was that the number 412 Willow Creek Lane was gone, not vandalized, not painted over, gone. The mailbox stood there like a pulled tooth. No house number, no nameplate, no package labels. A blank white box at the edge of a lawn that looked far too well kept for someone who'd supposedly left in the middle of the night. We'd only moved into Willow Creek a few months earlier. Me, my wife Lena, and our 13-year-old son Jamie, chasing the dream of quiet streets and good schools. But Willow Creek wasn't quiet. Not really. It just pretended to be. It was Saturday morning when I noticed the missing number. The street always looked identical. Perfect hedges, identical white fences, neat driveways like teeth in a row. But something about that empty mailbox drew me in. "Lena," I called. "Come look at this." She stepped outside, pulling her robe tight. "What am I looking at?" "Where's the address?" She frowned. "It's right." She stopped. "That's weird." Jamie was the one who said it aloud. "Wasn't that Mr. Turner's house?" He was right. It belonged to Mr. Turner, a quiet, friendly man who always wore pressed shirts and waved without ever really smiling. I walked over to his yard. Everything was neat. Lights off, car gone, curtains drawn. And then I noticed something worse. The sidewalk plaque, the embedded metal plate showing the house number at the curb, had been dug out cleanly. Not broken, not pried, removed like it had never been there. That night at the HOA meeting, I asked about it. Mrs. Crowell, the HOA president, smiled too brightly. "What house?" 412, Mr. Turner's house." She tilted her head. "There's no 412 on Willow Creek Lane." I laughed nervously. "You're joking." The room stayed silent. "I saw him just last week," I insisted. "You all saw him? We've always had 47 houses on this street," she interrupted. "Not 48. Every face in that room was blank. Every smile is too stiff. It was as if an entire house had been cut out of memory. The next day, I walked out with my phone and took a photo where 412 should have been. The gap between 410 and 414 was too wide, like the houses had shifted slightly, making room for something that wasn't there anymore. Jamie noticed something I didn't. "Dad, look at the grass." I zoomed in. The lawn where 412 had been was greener, almost glowing faintly at dusk. The fence on both sides had new, clean ends. No damage, no sign of removal. Lena told me to drop it. "It's probably foreclosure or something weird." Let it go, but at night I heard a sound. Not from outside. From between the houses. A kind of humming, low and steady like an electrical pulse. It came from where 412 should have been. I looked through the blinds at 2 a.m. and saw Jamie standing outside barefoot, staring at the empty lot. "Jamie," I hissed, rushing out. He didn't turn his head. His eyes reflected a faint green shimmer. "Did you hear it too?" he whispered. On Monday, I called the county office. They said there was no record of a 412 Willow Creek Lane. "It skips from 410 to 414, the woman told me. "That's always been the case." "No," I said, heart pounding. "We just moved here." "There was a house. A man named Turner lived there." "Sir, you might be confused," she replied politely. "Maybe you mean another street." When I came home, Lena was sitting at the kitchen table, pale. "I went through my photos," she said. "Barbecues, block party, everything." She slid her phone to me. Mr. Turner wasn't in a single picture. The space where he should have been, standing with a beer, waving, talking to neighbors, was just blurred light. Even worse, I found a neighborhood map from our moving packet. House 412 had been crossed out in faint gray ink, not erased. Crossed out. Wednesday night, 3 members of the HOA came to our door. Mrs. Crowell, a tall man in a black polo, and a woman with a clipboard. Their smiles were identical. "We've noticed you've been asking questions," Crowell said. I nodded. "Yes, about 412, her smile didn't change. There is no 4 on 12. But," she leaned forward, voice dropping an octave, "it's best to accept what is, Mr. Harlow. Willow Creek is a safe community because we follow the rules. What happens if someone doesn't follow them?" The tall man finally spoke monotone. "Then the neighborhood adjusts." Before I could say more, Lena grabbed my hand. "We understand," she said quickly. "We won't ask again." When they left, her hand was shaking. "We're leaving," she whispered. Tonight. But when we got to the car, the tires were slashed. The next day, Jamie didn't come home from school. I found him sitting at the edge of the empty lot where 412 should have been. Knees pulled to his chest. "He's in there," Jamie said. "Who?" "Mr. Turner." "There's nothing there, buddy." "Yes, there is." He waved at me from the light. The ground hummed again. I looked down and saw faint lines carved into the soil, in perfect squares like an invisible house blueprint. And in the center, a soft, pulsing glow. Jamie whispered. "He said they took his address." "Not him." That night, Lena packed. "We're done. We're getting out." But when I walked outside to double-check the car, something froze me. The number on our house, 416, was slightly peeling, the edges lifted like a sticker. Inside, the air felt heavy. Every picture on the wall that included Jamie looked fainter. My son's room had a strange echo, like it was already forgetting him. I ran outside to the lot, to fight whatever was happening. The glow in the ground was brighter now, shaped like a door, and in the center of the glow stood Mr. Turner. Except, he didn't look human anymore. His face was too smooth. His body flickered like a projection. "They took my address," he whispered. "When you lose the number, the world loses you." Behind him, I could see dozens of others, faint figures we'd blurred like erased names. The HOA wasn't lying. There was no 412, because 412 was consumed. Lena screamed from inside the house. I turned. The front of our house was melting into darkness. The number 416 slid off the wall like wet paint. Jamie was standing in the doorway, crying. "Dad, they're taking us." I ran to him, grabbed his hand, but the humming grew deafening. On the street, all the neighbors came out, standing perfectly still in rows, facing us. Their faces were blank, their voices synchronized. The neighborhood must stay balanced. Our house shifted. The air shimmered. And then, just like 412, it began to disappear. I fought to keep Jamie close, or the light pulling us apart. But in the last moment, I realized something horrifying. Lena was already gone. The next morning, the HOA welcomed a new family to Willow Creek, a smiling couple, their little girl holding a red balloon. The neighborhood had 47 houses. No one remembered the Harlows, but late at night, when the light hums between 414 and 418, you can still hear a boy's voice whispering from somewhere that doesn't exist anymore. They took our address. The HOA doesn't just control the neighborhood, it controls reality itself. Addresses aren't just numbers. They are anchors to existence. And when they remove yours, the world forgets you ever lived. They erased us like we were never here. Hit subscribe while your number's still on the door.